Okay, so let's start. So hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Firebase for Web 02. And I'm Rijraj, and I'm Google Developer Expert for Web Technology and Firebase. And also I'm running a YouTube channel named Tech Ferment. And today I'm going to talk about Cloud Firestore in advance. Like we will create a simple applications. Maybe it could be a to-do kind of applications, and we will add some security rules, and we will add some like star kind of things so that our application should be more secure. So this is just for the basic, like as you know already, like Cloud Firestore is a like which could be considered as a database, like where you can upload add your data in the Cloud Firestore, and it's a NoSQL database, and it will work as a real time. And if you have no internet connection, you can still access your data. And like it's totally serverless applications, and you can store your data in terms of collections. Like we have a collections, inside collections you can create a multiple documents, and then each document have a multiple fields. Okay, so like this is the image, like we have a collections, like collections, for example, as a users has a collections. Inside we have a document user 1, user 2, and user 3, and each document have a details of xyz user. Like for example, user 1 having a name, email address, password, profile image, these kind of things. And yeah, the same thing, like Firestore support like offline, like if you do not have internet connections, you can still work access the data. And these all are the methods, as you know already, like for using Cloud Firestore. So we have a queries, like you can use, like for adding the data. Like if you want to add a data into Cloud Firestore, so first you have to use like firebase.firestore, and then you need to define a collections. So let's say my collections name is data, and inside I'm adding a data, so we have to use add method. And add method, which will take as a parameter, which is a JavaScript object. Here you can pass the data. And similarly, like with the help of add method, it will automatically generate your document ID. But if you want to create your document ID by manually, so maybe you can use dot set method. But before set method, you need to define the document. So you here, uh, like you can define the document ID manually. Okay, and with the help of add method, it will create a document ID automatically. And then we have a query for read the data from the document. So you can use .get method to read the data from inside a collections name is data. And this one is for the real-time syncing. Like you can use this query for reading all the documents in the data name collections. This will be in double quotes. So it will read the data in real time. And then you know already, like we can update the data in specific documents. So we have a method dot update method, and then we have a delete method for delete the data, delete the document. And this is a simple example, as you know, like first we need to create a reference. Otherwise you can write directly like firebase.firestore. So just I have created a reference as a database db, and then we have defined a collections, and this is a add method. And inside of add method, I have passed JavaScript object, which takes like have a property like name and email address. And then this will work as a promise. So if we have to handle with then and catch blocks, so this is how we can add the data. And yeah, so this is all about the basic, like Cloud Firestore. We have rules and the functions. Now we need to work on the security part. Like as of now, like you know, like your configuration file will be visible to the user end. Like if I have a configuration file, like config file of your Firebase project, so there might be a possibility anyone can use that file, and anyone can add a data randomly. So that's why we have a Firestore security rules. So you can apply Firestore security rules in your database. So you can define a security rules means X type of user will only add the data, Y type of user can only read the data, Z type of user can only update the data. So this kind of things you can apply. Okay. So we will create like in this session, we will create a small applications like first we will have a two like input field, or maybe we have one input field as a name, and then we have a button. So once we click on add data, so our data will be added into the Cloud Firestore, and then we will secure this applications. Okay. So as of now, any doubt about Cloud Firestore and all, how to use and all? Okay, so I'll share the entire screen and then we'll go for the code labs. Okay, so first, yes, okay, yeah. So first we'll go for the console, Firebase console. Here we will create a project. So let's say I'll create a new project, let's say Firestore, uh, my app. Okay. So here, like I'll not using the Google Analytics part. So just I have disabled the thing and then click on the create project, and it will be working. So meanwhile, I'll go to the desktop. Here I can create a folder. Maybe you can create a folder name is Firestore AD, means advanced. So you can open this folder in your VS Code editor. So maybe I'm using VS Code editor. Here I have opened my folder directly. Okay. And we will follow the same thing, like my project is ready, and first we need to install Firebase CLI. So we have a Node.js. You have to install Node.js, and then you need to install Firebase CLI. So for that, you can check out the previous video. We will share how to set up Firebase CLI and all. So I have already installed Firebase CLI in my system. So what I'll do, I'll create a new project. So I'll type Firebase init for initializing the project. Okay, so then it will ask, are you ready to proceed? Yes, I'm ready to proceed. And then we'll select for the hosting part. Right now we will host this application. So, and then it will ask for the existing project or create a new project. So I'll go for the existing project. And then we have a list of projects. So my project name is Firestore My App. So I'll go for Firestore My App. So then I press enter, and then you need to define the directory name where you can add your index file, HTML files, JavaScript files, CSS file. So maybe you can write your own directory name, but right now I'm using public. So you can write public and then press enter. And then we are not working on a single page application. So that's why I've written no. And then you can also use CI/CD part. So right now we are not working on CI/CD. So I'll type N and then press enter. So this step is very simple. If we have config or created a simple project for the Firebase hosting, inside we have a file index.html 4.0.4.html. So I'll go for the index.html file. I'll remove all the things, and then we'll go for the HTML basic syntax. This is a simple skeleton, and here we'll type like maybe you can add like Firestore 02. Here you can also write cloud. Okay, and for checking like Firebase hosting, I'll go for the terminal. Yeah. So now we can also run this project in the local machine. So we just need to type Firebase serve for running this entire server in a local machine. So this will be work as a server. Okay, so this is a URL. I'll go to the browser and then we'll type that URL localhost 5000, and it's working properly. Now, first we need to go for the Cloud Firestore because we want to implement Cloud Firestore one part. So what we can do here, we can create a JavaScript. Here we can write a script part and then we can work on it. Or otherwise, what we can do, we can create a new file, let's say app.js, and here we can write our JavaScript logic. So I'll go for the script and then src, and then I will add this JavaScript file in the index.html. Okay. Yeah. So then we have app.js. So first we'll go to the yeah, project overview and then click on web part because I need to work on the web application. So I need to register a web application. So here we can type Firestore IAP. And then we can also configure for the Firebase hosting part and then register your application and you will get the SDK. Okay. So next, yes, and then click on the continue. Okay, then you need to go for the project setting and then scroll down and then go to the SDK section and we have a CDN. So first you need to copy this one part. So I'll just copy the Firebase script part. So I'll just paste it here because I'm working on Firebase. So we have to add Firebase core file. Okay. And then these all are the configuration files. So I'll just copy the script part and then we'll paste it here. Okay. I can format this document. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now we need to work on Cloud Firestore. So we have to add a library for the Cloud Firestore. So we have to go for the documents. So we'll go for the go to docs. And then we have a section for add Firebase for web. So you'll go to the Firebase for web. And then you need to scroll down and there is a sidebar. There is a button available libraries, and then you can go for the available Java Firebase JS SDK from the CDN. So we are working on Cloud Firestore. So I'll just copy this path. I'll copy and I will paste this after the Firebase core SDK. Okay. Now we are working on app.js and we have this file. So what we will do, we will create a div element and we can also work on Bootstrap. So if you have a, we'll go for the basic part of Bootstrap. This we use for designing part. So we have a Bootstrap. So we can use Bootstrap for designing mobile responsive UI. So right now I'll just use Bootstrap CSS part. So I'll just copy the Bootstrap library and I will paste it here. Okay. Okay. So in Bootstrap, we have a grid system first. So we can create a container and inside container, we can have a row and then we have a column. So what we can do, we will create a container. So I'll just write a sort logic. So this is a container. Like we have a div class container. Inside we have a row and then we have a column. So maybe you can create a column of 6, maybe you can add. And you can also add some offset property. So maybe you can add 3, means it will be in the center part. And then here you can write add data. So here maybe you can use as an input field and then type is equal to text. And for the Bootstrap, we have a class form controller for control. Yeah. And then you can apply some placeholder like enter text, or maybe you can add enter name and then we have an ID for the maybe you can add name. And then we have a button. So we'll add a button. And then for Bootstrap, we have a class BTN. And then BTN, we are using another class primary for the blue color. And then we'll add a like add data. Okay. So I think this is very easy. So I'll just go for the browser and then reload this page. So yeah, it's working. This is in the center. And we have one more supported class in the Bootstrap. So my for the margin from top and bottom. So we can add a value of 5. So there is a 5 space. So same thing you can apply from here for the text area. So text field. So maybe you can M3. So there is some space. Okay. Now, we have to perform some actions for adding a data into Cloud Firestore. So what I'll do, we can go for the button or we can directly call the actions. So we can add here on click method, for when I click on this button, so we need to call some functions. So we can add a function's name is add data. Okay, so I'll copy this function. So I'll create a new function's name is add data, and this add data we have to collect this name id. So we'll write let name input, just for the understanding, is equal to document dot get element by id, and then we have id is a name, and then we want to add value, so that we have written value. Okay, so now for adding the data, first we need to write Firebase. Inside Firebase we are using Firestore, so I'll go for the Firestore. And then we need to define a collection. So let's say I need to define a collections. Let's say my collection's name is data. And then we have a two methods. Either we can go for the set method or we can go for the add method. So right now I'm using add method. So we have a add method, and it will take like we have to pass a JavaScript object. So we can add like add data to add. We can create a variable data to add is equal to, here it is a JavaScript object curly braces, and then we can add a property name is equal to name input. I'll save and I'll pass this object inside this method, and this is a JavaScript promise, so we have to handle the then and catch block, and it will return a doc. So you can print the doc here, or you can print the document ID. So here is document ID is doc ID, it's equal to doc plus symbol doc dot id. And for error, so we have a catch block, so we can use catch block for printing the error, so that's why we have returned console.log e. Okay, so but we have to go to the like Firebase project, and then we'll go to the Firestore. Let's reload the page. Yeah, so this is Firestore. So first we need to create a database. So I'll click on the create database, and then we have a two options. Like first option is for the production mode. So, and the second option is for the test mode. So right now we are working on testing part. So we'll select for the test mode and then click on the next button. And then you need to select the reason for location for your database. So maybe you can use it, or otherwise I'm using Geo Center. Okay, and also here you can write alert box. Here you can pass like data. I'll save and wait for a minute. Yeah, so my cloud Firestore is ready, so we can test it right now. So here we'll reload this page, and then here let's say I'll add tag format and then click on add data, and I'll just maybe I will reload this page maybe. Okay, tag format and then add. Function is not working. I think I'll check. Here maybe you can write console.log, and then for the testing, it's working or not. App.js, yes. Yeah, data edit just because of maybe some internet issue. So we have a collections name is data. We have a document, and inside this document we have this one as a data field. Okay, so this is a security rules, Firebase security rules. If you go to the rules section, and then we have a by default rules. I'll just yeah. So this is the rules. So we have right now Firebase is working on that security rules is working on the version 2, and then we this is by default code. So what these are the code. So like first I'll just for the understanding purpose. Okay, so first, like any documents inside any collections, anyone allow means allow, read and write. If uh, yeah. Okay, so right now this rules is for anyone can read or write data till this timestamp, like this one. So like we have a date, so you can write like anyone can read or write the data. Not false. Here you can write. Yes. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll go for like if true. So just first we'll go for the true part. Means any in any like collections on any collections, and like anyone can read and write the data, but we can define another by Firebase security rules. Like first we need to write match, and then inside match we have data name as a collections, like this is a data collections. I'll just go for the continue. I'll first explain. So this is a data collections. So here we need to apply a Firebase security rules. So here what I'll do, I'll just remove this part, and for the test show you how we can do that. So first we'll write match, and then we need to write a collections name. So this is a collections name. So inside this collection name, any docs, like inside any doc, like yeah. So okay, so like we have a data as a collections name. Inside data have any docs, like doc 1, doc 2, doc 3. So we have to write rules for the this collections. Like we have to first we need to write allow, means allow, read, anyone can read, anyone can write, and anyone can update, anyone can delete, uh, equal to colon. And then we need to apply a rules, like first we can apply a rules like if, and then we need to write request dot auth, means only authenticated user can read, write, update and delete the data. So first we have to use if request dot auth dot uid. So request.auth.uid means like whenever you are going for the Firebase authentications, so you will get the Firebase user ID. So this is a user ID equal to, and here maybe you can pass the user ID. So you can use this doc ID, means like or here just you can pass this thing for the understanding purpose. So like only authenticated user can read or write and delete and update the data uh, if we have a user ID, that UID. Okay, so like I haven't logged in with my any account. So when I'm trying to add a data, it will give me error like permission denied, missing or insufficient permission, because we have a database security rules, which is like allow, read, write, update and delete when we have a user UID. UID means the Firebase authentication ID. So right now we are not working on the Firebase authentication part. So first we'll go for the authentication. So I'll go for the Google Auth. So I'll just go for the Google Auth and then click on the enable button, and then you have to pass the support mail and then click on the save button. And the same thing, like you have to apply uh, the SDK for the auths. I'll just copy this part and I will paste after security, or maybe you can add it. Okay. Okay, so now we have a two row. Like first row is for the authentication. So first inside this row we have a column of 12, and then we have a button for the Google Log. So logged in with Google account, logged in with Google. Here we can add like actions like on, click. Here you can pass the function's name is login. And in the Bootstrap, we have a class, so we'll use Bootstrap, and then we have BTN class. Here, what we can do, so we are using same class, primary for the blue color. So we'll go for the login. So we'll go for app.js file, and then we will create a new functions for the login. So this one is for the login. So if you don't know about Firebase authentication, so I have created a GitHub repo. So okay. So we have a repo for the Google Auth with the sign in. So we have two methods. First method is either we can go for the sign in with pop-up. So like there will be a pop-up and then we can authenticate the user, or we can go for the redirect method. So right now we are working on the sign in with pop-up. So first, this is the documentation. I'll just share this talk with you as a reference. Okay, so I'm applying Google authentication. So first we need to create a provider. So I'll just copy this part and then we'll have a provider. And then we have to follow this logic. So I'll just copy this entire logic and I will paste it here. Okay. And then this is the comments. So we can remove this part, and we have a user. So this is the user details, and this is for the error. So here we can print the error if there is any issue. So I'll just print the error. Okay. And then if we have a user, what we can do, we can show this div element. So right now we have two rows. First row is for the Google Auth screen. So I'll just type ID is equal to, this one is for the login screen. And this row is, I need to apply in the row part. So yeah. And this one is for ID. This one is for the dashboard. Okay, so first, what we have to do, just for the understanding purpose. So we have two rows. First row having a row section is for the Google login with Google, and second one is for the dashboard. So we'll go for we'll write a basic logic. So first we'll write document dot get element by ID. Here we first this block always visible. So we'll write this style display is equal to you can apply is equal to block. Means this block will be visible, and by default the dashboard screen, that part like unauthorized user, this will be hidden. So we'll write style dot display is equal to none for the by default. So I'll just save and then we'll go for the UI part. Okay, so I'll reload. So as of now we have this screen. So maybe here you can write some text for the understanding purpose, like add data something, and here you can write a lot of representation for the list. So this will look like as a good things. Okay, so now we have a users. So what I have to do, we have to print the details for the user. So like if we found this user, no, we have to create another functions for check user auth, like check the user state, whether the user is logged in or not. So we'll go to the this one part, and then we have a section for email and ID password. So same thing, we have check state whether the user is logged in or not. So we have to follow this thing again. So we have a method on state method on auth state change method. It will check whether the user is logged in or not. So if the user is logged in, so what we have to do, we have to show, we have to hide the login screen and we have to show the dashboard screen. So here we will write the same thing. So here we will write go for the none and this one is for the block. Okay, and for the same thing for the we'll follow the same thing, like if the user is not logged in, so here we can write this one. Okay, and then we need to call this function, so we have to call this function, so here we are calling this function. Okay, so I'll reload this page. I am not logged in right now. When I click on the login button, so there is a pop-up and then we need to authenticate the user. So I'll click on my Gmail ID and user is logged in, and then I can add a data. So now I can add a data because I'm authorized person. So this is a Firebase security rules, like only authenticated user can add the data. This is a security rules because we have a user ID. How we can check the user ID? So we can go for the authentication part. This is a auth part, and then we have a user ID, this one. So this will check if this user ID is existing in this table. So all that user can only add the data. So we have a cloud Firestore. I'll remove the entire collections for the testing purpose. Yeah, so right now we have do not have a data. So I'll add a data tech format and the function is, I'll just reload. Okay, we need to apply one more rules for the security rules. Yeah, not equal to null. We have to apply this one. Okay, so like if we have a user ID, like then only able to use add the data. So that's why we have to write if request dot auth not equal to null. Okay, so I'll just deploy and save. Yeah, already saved this document, so I'll just reload this page. I'm already authenticated, so I'll click on the add data and now I'm able to add the data. So this is how we can apply Firebase security rules. So as of now, in this this is a Firebase security rules, which is telling like inside data as a collections, any user can read, write the data and update the data or delete the data if we have a auth ID. But sometimes we need to provide some like I'll give you the example. uh, like I have logged in with tech format email ID, so I'll just go for different email ID and I will log in my different account. So I will log in with this account. Yeah, so when I'm trying to add this name Rijraj Singh, data is added. Okay, and we'll go to the data part, and yes, now we have a two users. This one is for the Bridgeraj and this one is for the tech ferment. Okay, so as of now our rule is like any authenticated user can read the data of entire this collections. Means like tech ferment, like when I'm user logged in with Bridgeraj, I can read the data from this document. So I need to apply some more security rules, like I'm Bridgeraj logged in with my Bridgeraj account, can see my documents only, not for the other documents. So you can apply that things also. Okay, so how we can do that, I'll show you how like we can read the data. So first we will add functions. So this function is for read all docs. So for reading all docs, first we need to write Firebase, then we have a Firestore, and then we need to define a collection. So we'll write collections, and then inside we have a collections as a data. And then we have a get method for reading a data, and it will give you the list of documents. So I'll just then, and then we have a list of documents. So we have docs, and here you can apply for each loop for data dot for each. Here you will get a one by one doc. Okay, and then you can print that docs. So what I'll do, I can print the docs. So here we have this section. So we will create a div element, uh, or we can create a table. So inside table we have a table heading. So here we have a single row having one column is name, and then we have a table body. So inside table body we can add a class. So here we can apply a class for the bootstrap for the table. So now we need to add a data. So here what I'll do, so I'll go for the document dot get element by id. Id is we need to pass the id. So here we can pass the id is equal to result, and here yes as a id. Then inner html is equal to we need to plus symbol for concatenating, and then we need to create a multi-line string. So we have to use this symbol, uh, symbol for creating a multi-line string. And then here you have to create a row. So we'll write a row. So we'll write row create. So, and then we have a column. So we'll write td and then td. And here we can print the data. So we have a doc. So for printing of variables in multi-line string. So template details, we will use doc dot data as a method for getting a data, and then we have a field is name. Okay, so we have to apply this symbol, and then we have to add this one also just before calling this one part. Okay, now we need to read the data, so we can call this function here. And yes, okay, so I'll just reload this page and I'll go to the directory, and then we can read the data. So data is not defined. Where is, okay, so we have a doc, so I'll just add docs and save and then reload the page. So we have a data. So right now I have logged in with tech format email ID, but I can read the data from another documents. So I can apply one more security rules, only authenticated user can read the data uh, in specific document. Okay, so what we can apply a rules, for example, once your user is authenticated, you will get the user. So here I'll explain in this part, check authentications. So if the user is logged in, so we'll get a user as an object. So inside user as an object we have a uid. So this is a user object. Inside we have a uid section. Okay, so this is a UID. So whenever you are adding a data with the add method, so I'll suggest you for the security purpose, try to use a set method. So we can use set method, and then here we can define a doc, and here you can define that UID, user ID. Okay. So how we can get the UID? So here there is one more functions that you can use in the doc. This one. So here you, before adding a data, so here we have a user it will return like Firebase for .auth from current user will give you the user, and then you can print the user.uid, because user is an object, inside we have a user ID. So like you will add the data inside the collections, and then you can read the data. Okay, so I'll save and I'll go to the Firebase, and then we'll delete the entire collections, and then we'll go to the Firebase security rules. Okay, so when I'm trying to add a data into Cloud Firestore, so there will be a document ID. Document ID will be equal to the user ID. So this will give you the user ID. This will give you the doc ID, and this will give you the user ID. So what we have to do here, we have to write equal to doc. Okay, so doc means the document ID, equal to user ID means like Bridgeraj can see the document of the Bridgeraj only. Okay, so just we have applied this rule. I'll just reload the page, and just put the data. Here we have a doc. So yes, to data. Okay. So I'll just reload this page. Yes. Uh, so I have reload this page. First, it will give you the error first, but we will add a data. So we have the edit type is equal to cannot read the property of ID. So here you have to check whether you have a details about, or here you can apply user as a variable user ID is equal to user. Okay, and then here you can print user ID, and you can see access the user ID here. I'll just reload this page. So we'll try user ID is not defined. Okay, we need to call ID. Okay, so before applying data here, also you need to check whether the user is logged in. So we have to follow the same command. I'll just, yeah. So first, if user is there, so we will print the logic console.log. Here we can print the user, and I'll just comment this logic. Like before adding a data, first you need to check whether we have a user or not. So I'll just reload this page, and yeah, we have a user, and we cannot read the data because we have applied Firebase security rules. So I'll just comment this one part just because it's coming error. Okay, so now we have a user, so like we have to add a data into Cloud Firestore. So we have a user, so I'll just cut this logic and I'll paste it here. So if we have a user, only authenticated user can read the data, add the data. So we have a doc and then user and then UID. Okay. Okay. So now I can add the data. So data is added and ID is undefined. Maybe which one? Collections data, and there is a document. I'll just check. and then we have a tech ferment. Okay. $54. Okay. So here we are not printing any doc ID right now. I'll just save, and here we have a user ID, and then we can uncomment this logic, and then we'll reload this page. Insufficient permissions. We'll just check the Firebase security rules. We have rules, and then okay. So in this doc, we have if request.uid.user_id is equal to data. So yes. So I need to apply the rule for the read operations again. So I'll just write read operations, and I will remove this part. And here we'll go for copy, and then we need to apply rules. Okay, so these rules allow like okay, so with the yeah, so this rule like only authenticated user can read the data equal to, and like read operation is allow only for those user who can read the data of their block only. So we'll just reload this page. Then there is one more error. Just a minute, I'll check. Read, write, update, delete.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Brijraj. I guess you are getting all the data from the collection data, because now you are like having the read operation, so you can only read one document, not all the documents. So can you like open your read function, read all docs?
Okay, here I have some.
So here you need to pass the document ID as well to get the data.
Okay, yeah, I got it. So we have to pass the doc ID of a user. So what I'll do, I'll copy this logic. Thank you so much. I'll just confuse. Okay, so here you have to cut this logic, and here you have to paste. And then we need to read the data, so that's why we have to write doc, and then we have a user dot id, and then we have a doc, and then we do not have a list of document. So what I'll do, I'll remove this logic, and here we'll add simple document dot get element by id is equal to result, and then in our HTML here we can print the data to doc dot data, and then we have a name. Okay, and here in this block, so we'll comment this table part, and then here we can define a div element having a id is equal to user result. Save, and then reload this page, I think. Not getting data edit. Just reload this page.
Sorry to interrupt again. Yeah, like hi Brijraj, like you have used user.id. I guess it should be user.uid while reading the data.
Okay, sorry, I was.
It's okay. It's okay. Like,
So I'll just save and then reload this page. This function is working or not? I'm not. So log. I don't know. I'll just check with the. Can I I'll share the repository. I have some maybe some code. I'll check this code. So maybe if you have any doubt, you can ask me. I'll share this repository for the Firebase security rules. So maybe there's some issue.
Vrijraj, like I guess the issue is like you called the function first, like check user auth, then call the function read all docs. But initially, user auth is like we need to wait until the user is not like is logged in. So I guess we need to call this function inside the user auth, like where we are adding the auth listener, read all docs or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that I'll share the repository for that. Sorry for interrupt. I have some health related issues,
Yeah, it's
so
okay. It
yeah.
happened. It happened. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll share this resources and the repository for that one, and yeah. So sorry for today. Yeah. Any other doubt? With the help of security rules, you can define the rules in the doc we have a collections name is a data, and inside we have a document, so you can apply a rules you can read, write, update and delete the data if there is a UID, means only authenticated user can this part. And for reading, so we have applied this database security rules for only authenticated user can read the data whose document ID is equal to user ID. Thank you. I'll share the repository for today.